I'm Lance Phillips. Started back at the gym a couple of days ago. I cannot lift my arms over my head. Kinger, you're going to have to help me out of this chair.
I'm Chris King. I could definitely do that. As you can tell, I'm not at the gym. I am not hitting the gym. Was it obvious?
Why would you even go?
Well, figure like this. Look at this.
Body of a bronze.
Dad bod from
Body of a bronze Michelin man.
Dad bod since born.
You are the creator of the dad bod?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was born with it.
Good to have it in The Gloves Are Off. Watching The Gloves Are Off, of course, we're actually on The Gloves Are Off. Lance Phillips, Chris King. I know you're recruiting this past weekend.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It went fairly well. Did some speaking, did some recruiting. I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, but good stuff.
Fair enough. Feeling confident about some of the people you met?
Very confident.
How'd you feel about your speaking?
Speaking was adequate.
At best.
At best, yeah.
All right, listen, Midget AAA's had a pretty substantial game, so why don't we begin on that topic for Midget AAA Bobcats playing the Canadian women's national team. That's the Olympic team that will be in Pyeongchang in February. Yes, they actually played them really well, I might add. Ended up on the 4-1 side of a losing score, Chris. But, I mean, is this a moment, is this a moment that this team can use as a defining moment in their season? They played the best they've played all year.
Yeah, I think anytime you play a team that's much better than you, I think you're always going to take something from that game. So, for those kids, you're playing against Olympic athletes, which is a cool experience in itself.
Unbelievable.
You're going to remember that for the rest of your life. But I obviously wasn't there, but from the people I talked to, they said one of the things that the Bobcat kids could have took back is the speed that the women played at and how quick they thought
They're
game.
very quick. They're very quick.
And when you think about midget AAA, you're thinking at the highest level that we have in midget hockey, and those guys are still behind where our women's national team is. So I think for them, learning how to play at that pace is a really good learning lesson that they could take into their season.
A lot of these women played. Shannon Zabados, she played for the Bonneville Pontiac. She's a goaltender, did not play in the midget game. A lot of these players have experiences. They played on boys/men's teams before. This is not new to them. But it was fascinating watching the game because I was one of those people who thought the Midget A boys were going to get stomped. I thought by the end of the first period it's going to be 5-0 for the women's team.
Right.
And that boys team surprised me. They were very good. If they can play like that in the regular season, they're going to be tough to beat, real tough to beat. And that was one of the first times they've had their whole team out. But yeah, I mean, a big step from even those guys to where that women's team is. There's some really good players on that women's team. Yeah, really good players.
And when you're having a season that you're struggling a little bit out of the gates, I think when you play that team, that can either make or break. So the coaching staff, if they can use that wisely, I think there should be some good things for those kids to come.
Oh, they're fine. And it's a situation where I even said to their coach Cole Fisher after the game, I said, look, this is a situation that you can build on. How do you translate this into what you guys do in the regular season? How do you take this effort? Because the effort was outstanding. It was exciting to watch, and some of the games that those kids have played in have not been exciting to watch. And that I'm almost sure is going to be a turning point for that team.
Just mark that down.
I'm doing it right this second.
Okay. The Lloydminster Bobcats are 11-20-2 to start the season this year. Lance, what do they need to do to turn this season around at the Christmas break?
There's not a lot they can do, quite frankly. From two different sources now, I have been told that this team has used all 45 of its cards for the season. So at this point, the team that's on the ice is the team that's on the ice unless they can make a trade. They're in trouble in that regard. There's not a lot they can do. They do have one saving grace, and that is Nick Sanders, their goaltender. So a kid they newly acquired, played in the WHL for the Tri-City Americans and the Prince Albert Raiders. Very Austin McGrath-esque. He's quite a good goaltender. He's the one shining star on that team that I see that can help them out. When I've watched him play, he plays really well. He's solid in net, makes hard saves look fairly easy. But this team currently has 11 wins. Yeah. I mean, they finished with 15 last season. What you see is what you get here, and there's not a lot they can do. They're in trouble, I think.
So a couple positives. When you have a good goalie, your team gets a lot better, right? Your team starts playing a little bit better, maybe over their head sometimes because they're confident. So that them having a good goalie is probably the best thing they could have if you're going to have one strength, right?
But they had a great goaltender last year, and they won 15 games. I'm pretty sure Austin McGrath won 10 of them.
Right.
On his own.
Solo. So the other positive thing is, if you look at the North standings, they're actually only 10 games back and forth, right? You have the top teams, and you kind of have the bottom feeders, and there's kind of like a mix-up in the middle. So if they ended up going on a streak where they won a bunch of games, which obviously hasn't happened so far this year, they could pull themselves back and
I think they won 4 in a row at one point.
Right, but they could be respectable. The one other thing to note, we talked about this before the season started. Colby Walker's having a pretty good season with 14 goals and 14 assists.
Okay.
33 solo effort though. Solo.
Fair,
effort.
but they don't have any. They don't. Colby Walker's a point. He doesn't even produce at a point per game level.
Right.
They don't have any players that are producing at a point per game level. Their 4th highest scorer is Daniel Hilsendegger, which is a defenseman. If you take a look at the Spruce Grove Saints, as an example, in the top 3 teams, they have 5 point per game producers or better on their team. Even Sherwood Park, who's just ahead of the Bobcats, has 4 on their team. They do not have enough scoring. This team does not have enough scoring. They're not great in their defensive zone. They had some, when I watched them play Drumheller the other night, they were quite good offensively. Right. Like they looked solid offensively. But Drumheller looked like they were awful. Drumheller was brutal in their defensive zone. And when I watch the Bobcats play defensively, they run around, and it's kind of like chickens running around with their heads cut off a little bit. This team is going to make the playoffs because the team below them won't, which is Drayton Valley. They're even worse. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a lot they can do at this point.
Yeah, and you know my thoughts on that, every team making playoffs. But when you're a bad team, which they are right now, you have to focus on some little positives.
A bad team is, I'm not saying the Bobcats are a bad team, but they're not great right now.
Right.
And they weren't great last year, and they haven't done a ton to improve this team other than their goaltender, and they had a pretty good one last year as well. Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton, this past weekend, put on the pinstripes, which means he is a Bronx Bomber. This is bad news for the Blue Jays, Kinger. What are they going to do to keep pace with a team that is now has 2 players, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, who hit 111 home runs combined last year? That's more than almost 20 teams in Major League Baseball. Yeah,
the Jays are just going to give up this year, basically.
Okay.
I think that's
next subject.
Yeah, let's move on. Very disappointing as a Jays fan to see Stanton go there, but understandable why. Now, as we said, I think we said this in the summer last year, the Jays have to blow it up. You're not winning. You're not making playoffs. Boston has a really good team.
What is blow it up, though?
So what I mean by blow it up is let's get rid of all the aging contracts for whatever you can get prospect-wise. Tulowitzki, Martin, and I've said this several times on this show, Josh Donaldson needs to be traded.
Josh Donaldson needs to stay.
Why?
He's got to stay.
You're a losing team. You're going to have a losing record. You're not going to draw well anyways. If you get some pieces to get your fans excited about, you might be good in 2 years. If you keep him, he's gone.
The only thing that's exciting fans in Toronto are wins. That's it. That's the only thing that excites fans. Toronto fans don't give a rat's behind about prospects. They don't care because I believe that the general baseball fan in Toronto does not know enough about the Jays prospects in their system to care. Okay, they want to see wins. If you win, you're going to get people out at the baseball park. If you don't, you're not. And they're going to win if they keep guys like Josh Donaldson. They're going to win if they can get great pitching out of Marcus Stroman, who can not avoid destroying himself. Aaron Sanchez comes back into the mix and has a good season. There's a lot of health questions here. You need Devin Travis to play 3/4 of a season.
Not happening.
Hasn't yet, but it can. If he can, it will help them. You need guys like Justin Smoke to play as he did in 2017.
Right. So you just gave me 10 what-ifs for the Jays to be
good. For sure.
There's
that's
no
what,
way those
that's
are
what
happening.
The subject was about. What do the Jays do to keep pace?
But you can't rely on like, hey, we could keep pace if this. If you told me 3 things.
What do they need to do then?
If you blow it up, get some prospects so that you can actually have a chance to win the World Series, because that's
They're
what
not
it's about.
If they get a bunch of prospects, their chance of winning the World Series isn't this year, it's not next year, it's maybe not for 6 more years.
Do you think this team, if they play well, can make the playoffs? Do you actually think that?
I think with a couple of additional pieces and people that can stay healthy, yes, I believe that they can.
I have a tough time saying if they stay healthy. Tulo's never been healthy. Travis has never played more than 80. He averages 80 games.
Tulo's been fairly healthy up until last season.
Last couple seasons. Toronto FC won the MLS Cup this past weekend. The win was overshadowed, unfortunately, by the action of fans. Lance, does the MLSE allowing too much from their fans in terms of what's happening at the games, post games?
Look, I understand what MLSE has going on here. They own Toronto FC. They want to foster this culture that's happening within BMO Field. But you can't have fans destroying the fan zone, destroying seats, ripping seats out of the fan zone, setting off flares. At some point, you've got to put the brakes on and say, okay, we appreciate what you're doing here, but you've gone too far. That point was crossed after the game against the Seattle Sounders when they won the MLS Cup. There's destroyed seats. Like, it's insane. And MLSE, they will almost certainly just pay for the new seats and get it fixed up, and okay, we're good now. There's got to be, the line has been crossed, and now MLSE has to pull the reins back and say, okay, you are not allowed to do this type of stuff, and if you are, you're gone.
Yeah, and the tough thing for them is you want to see the passion, you want to
sure.
see it, and soccer is one of the craziest sports for fans being passionate. But what happened there, that's not passion. That's
They've
just
let it
being
go
crazy.
for,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's over the line. So now you're bringing your young family out to a game, and you see that. So now these kids think that that's how to act. I think it's just unbelievable that
there's
that
one
happens.
fan supporting group that's gained a lot of traction for TFC, and they are boisterous. They do whatever they want, and there's no consequence for what they do. They've had flags that are flat out disturbing to look at. They're not appropriate. And if you looked in that south end zone after the game, it looked like there was a fire going on in the stands. Like, it looked like the stands were on fire. Like, you can't have that kind of thing.
It looked like full rioting to me.
It did actually look like rioting. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
And it's great to have a good atmosphere, but you cannot allow your fans to destroy your building. These are fans that are destroying their own home.
Yeah. You have to do something to stop it. But it's, like you said, it's gone too far at this point.
MLSE's let it go so far that now these people just think that they can continue to get away with it, and that's exactly what's happening. They're getting away with it more and more, and until MLSE does something about it, it's going to continue to happen. Tom Savage took a savage hit this past weekend against the San Francisco 49ers in the end zone. Of course, we can't show you the B-roll of it because we don't have the rights to show you the B-roll, but I will do it for you. He was hit onto the turf, and when he rolled over, he essentially did this for a couple of seconds. The next series, Tom Savage was back in at quarterback for the Texans and eventually did leave. That's a concussion. It looked like a seizure. Did the team put their quarterback at serious risk by putting him back in the game?
Yes, absolutely so. He was for sure knocked out. He was alligator arms and shaking. The thing that's even scarier to me is that official was right over the top of it. You've heard that term before.
I've heard T-Rex arms, but I've never heard of alligator arms. But that is unbelievably funny.
I've seen it a couple times.
In a not so funny situation.
Yeah, like you see the arms go limp.
He's totally twitching.
There's no way he should be allowed to come back in that game, even if he goes off and his eye test. Like, I don't know what the protocol is. I'm not on the sidelines.
They erect the medical tent right there at the side of the field, and they do a series of tests, and whatever happens, happens. You cannot let a player back in the game. The NFL there's a huge problem here with their concussion protocol. Tom Savage should not have been, they should have just, you're done. Yeah. Here we go. You can't, how can you do a concussion protocol on the sideline in an erected medical tent? You have to take them into a proper facility to do that. That's not a proper facility. And you can't take the NFL seriously if this is their concussion protocol.
And I would also argue that those guys probably know what the test is, right? In terms of the questions being asked.
Sure they do.
Because they have to do their baseline testing as well. So I think you can fake through that. I don't know how rigorous it is. But the fact that anyone let him go back on the field, it's shocking. Like, what one hit there, what could have happened to him?
NFL spokesperson Joe Lockhart made the following statement. We believe strongly that the protocol is an important part of our overall effort to improve player safety. Said that on Monday. They're not improving player safety. If anything, they're making it worse. And you know that every single player is going to say, I'm going back in the game. I'm going back in the game. And if they're that dumb to do that, the NFL's got to be like, no, you're not. Yeah. You're not going back in that game. And I don't care what you say, it's not happening. You're not going back in this game. We'll reevaluate you, and we'll see if you're even prepared for next week's game.
Yeah, and I would argue he's probably not ready for next week.
He should be done for the season after watching that. That is insane. It's absolute craziness.
Staying with NFL QBs, Carson Wentz has a partially torn ACL this past weekend. Lance, what does that mean for the Eagles, who you predicted to win the Super Bowl at one point?
Yeah.
What's their playoff picture look like?
I've got to pull back on the win the Super Bowl. I still believe they can get there. I mean, let's not forget, Nick Foles had a pretty good season last year. You know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, they're done. Nick Foles is a pretty decent quarterback, had a good season. If he can continue that, they'll be in good shape. They've got defensively, they're excellent. Mm-hmm. Defensively, the Philadelphia Eagles are excellent. They've got a lot of great offensive players. They've got a lot of great weapons. Alshon Jeffrey, they're fine. I believe that they are fine. Yeah, it's a kick in the groin, but they're going to be all right. Expect to see them in the Super Bowl.
And see, I'm on the other side. I think Wentz is so dynamic that I don't think
of course he's dynamic.
Yeah, there's no arguing that. I just think when your offense and your system set up around a QB that can do multiple things like that, not that Foles is bad by any means. He's probably one of the better backups in the league. I think your team's just automatically going to take a huge step back, right? What are they, 11-1 right now?
10-2.
10-2, sorry. So moving forward, can they play 500? Like, are they a 500 team? And then move.
Yeah,
like,
they're 100% a 500 team.
I just wonder how your team responds to that in terms of, you know, that the wide receivers aren't going to be getting the same balls, right? Like, you have to change the way your offense is because your QB plays way different.
Right, and that's doable. That's doable for a professional team to change the offense. And like I said, Nick Foles is not a quarterback that you're just like, oh, these guys don't stand a chance with him in there. It's not like Trevor Siemian for the Broncos. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, the Broncos don't stand a chance with Trevor Siemian. But the team that we're talking about right now that just went out of the top of my head,
The Eagles.
thanks to the Eagles, they do. It's unbelievable. I'm got 100 things going through my mind. The Eagles do have a chance with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And they can change that offense. They can make it work, and they will make it work with this guy.
I hope so. They've had a heck of a season so far.
I've had a heck of a season, and obviously most of that goes to Carson Wentz. Most of that goes to what Carson Wentz has done, but they'll be fine. Super Bowl bound are the Philadelphia Eagles. Albert's on the other side. Got lots of stuff. Loaded right up.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
Welcome back.
Sweet.
Let's begin. There's lots.
That's the
There's
best-
lots
best
going
start
on
to
here
this
today.
segment yet.
This guy was pulling tweets left, right, and center. Okay, this is the Render NFL. So this is the Tom Savage hit, and if you haven't seen it, it's pretty wild. Tom Savage hits headlander, appears to have seizure while ref looks on, comes back into the game 5 minutes later. Like, that's not normal.
No.
That's not normal. I mean, how many times do you see people get hit, and as you put it, Kinger, with gator arms?
Yeah, that was full gator
there's
arm. That was
mail.
hard to watch.
It's totally not normal. It's totally not normal.
Chris Nowitzki, PhD, disgusted that the at Houston Texans allowed Tom Savage to return to the game. We got a double up here.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we're skipping it. We're moving on.
Well, no, it's essentially about what he says about that he's disgusted
Okay,
about the NFL protocol.
so I skimmed that a little quick.
You,
then.
you skimmed over that one a little quick.
All right, this is what I'm talking about being an amateur. So, going back to the middle of our tweet that we were on, returned to the game after 2 plays showing these horrifying #concussion signs. Is that a seizure? The answer was yes to that, by the way, after the head impact. I would not let my worst enemy go through the 2017 NFL sideline concussion protocol.
It's a joke. It's a joke is the bottom line.
Yeah,
It's not concussion
You've got
protocol.
mail.
It's a joke.
if you take him off for 3 plays and put him back on, it's really nothing.
unbelievable. All right. Rodney Heemstra at the Rodbot. So the Rodbot is a guy that I actually went to school with. So he says, I've watched this 100 times. I'm about to watch it 100 more times. And he's referring to this, 2017 Filth Part 1. Like, look at some of these pitches. Like, how would
Oh
you
my
hit this?
goodness.
How do you hit this?
The 2-seamer and the cutter are the ones
Look
that
at, like, how do you hit that?
you don't.
Like, that Marcus Stroman pitch is unbelievable.
Those are the best hitters in the world.
It's just, can you imagine being an umpire and having to deal with that?
No, that's why so
Mail
many
in the
umps get hit.
beak.
No doubt.
All right, Mike Stauffer. Had to rewind and listen to TSN Vic Router and his big ticks comment again. That was a pardon me moment right there.
It
LOL.
was. Listen, I was watching Roar of the Rings when Vic Router said this, and I had to rewind 10 seconds on my TV to make sure he didn't say what I thought he said. I'm like, what did he just say? And I didn't know he said big ticks.
Big
at the
ticks could
time.
be
ticks,
misinterpreted.
T-I-C-K-S.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know he said that at first, and I rewound, and I still didn't hear that the second time.
Hey, there's mail.
But it was funny, and I laughed. I was laughing at home watching it because I thought, what on earth did I just hear? Okay, so this is the Hillman Hitmen. Of course, many people know the Hillman Hitmen. Last year, a fabulous charity for the Stansfield family. Jesse Stansfield, who plays for the Lloydminster Bandits, you know him quite well, lost his mother to cancer. Great fundraising effort by the Hillman Hitmen and the Lloydminster Bandits. Hillman's back at it again this year. So please share. Hitmen are hosting at Lloyd Bandits for the 2nd annual benefit game, Puck Drop, 2:30 p.m. Sunday, December 17th at the Hillmond Arena. Please contact Marine to donate baking or silent auction items. Entry $5 per person, 5 or younger free. Here's what it goes to. Proceeds of the game go to Ryan Harbin and Roberta Mills' family. So Ryan Harbin, from what I understand, has been diagnosed with cancer himself, and they have a young child well-known family in the Hillmond area, so a lot of this is going towards his benefit. Lloydminster Men's Shelter, always a great charity as well. Hillmond Schools Save Our Slide project in the Hillmond Community Hall. So yeah, get out there to the Hillmond Arena Sunday at 2:30 and give some support to people in the local community. They do a great job with it. It's fantastic. And you can, we're going to retweet that on the Gloves Are Off Twitter account. I'm sure we will if we haven't already, and you can find some information
You've
there.
got
Yeah, it's
mail.
awesome to see those type of charity events.
They do a great job, and they do a fantastic job with it. Really, really good.
I got Christian Boers. It's Boers. It's a great Twitter handle, by the way. I wish I loved anything as much as these people love the Buffalo Bills. That was amazing, the amount of snow that was coming
It was
down.
unbelievable. It reminded me of Grey Cup, but times 10. And the thing is I understand where those people are coming from, because if you sit in the chair and you get that much, you can't get up, because if you get up, the snow's going to be all over the chair. You're screwed.
And it's getting in your shirt
Yeah,
and everything else.
if you're there and you got that much, you can't move. You're stuck, right? You can borderline barely move your head from side to side to watch the play go down the field. Right?
You're committed.
Yeah, totally. Oh, this is amazing. Mark Wazinski at Mark W. Penguin and Batman calling the Bears Bengals today. Like, honestly, how do you think of that?
That is awesome.
It's unbelievable. Like, how do you think of that kind
You've
of
got
thing?
mail.
Sam Rosen
That
and
makes
Brady
you giggle
Quinn.
every time you peek
It's
at that
incredible. And I can't believe how much Sam Rosen looks like the Penguin. Like, he actually does.
Darren Rovell, at Darren Rovell, Fed stop huge survivor NFL pool that
Unbelievable.
had more than 23,000 entries and 2.5 million in it. Money seized and no charges yet.
Okay, forgive my ignorance here, but is this not allowed? Like, can you not do
Well,
this?
you need licenses to do this, right? Like, we run something like this, you have to get a gaming license. So, so a lot of guys that are running
2.5 mil's a little high.
yeah,
I guess.
the guys that are running their casual leagues and it's getting up over $1 million, better watch yourself.
You've got
imagine?
mail.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea. At first I read it, I was like, what? You can do that? You can seize that stuff? Okay, so this comes from Cougar Bait, at Cougar Bait. Cougar Bait.
Right up there.
Cougar Bait. Welcome to Northern Ontario. This is a Ford Focus with a hockey net on top of it.
Beauty.
It's amazing. It's incredible. I like that he took the time to black the license plate out. So
Mail in the beach.
Hashtag where's the game?
where are they going with that?
Down the road. Someone's missing a net
Cougar
somewhere.
Bait. I love Andrew Selby.
So this is Rick at Rick Thorpe. This mess brought to you by the wonderful fans of TFC. The same fans so
There it
worried
is.
about the Argos ruining the field. Something here. Maybe the chant should be no TFC at BMO.
So there's a hashtag and there's a chant that goes around at BMO Field, no Argos at BMO. No Argos at BMO Field.
Which makes no sense. Why? Like,
Because
why does it
they're
matter
afraid that
much?
the Argos are going to ruin the turf at BMO. First of all, they have an exceptional grounds crew there. Second of all, these are TFC fans destroying seats.
Like I said, unbelievable.
Hey, there's mail.
That's not a fan. Like, to
No,
me,
it's
that's
not.
a
It's
fan.
just a bunch of clowns in the
Yeah.
south end zone.
An excuse to
I
be an
won't
idiot.
name
That's what it
their
is.
supporter group, but it's ridiculous. Okay, this is just fantastic camera work. So this is unbelievable. This is Serge Ibaka giving the finger wave to one of the players he's up against there. But watch it's incredible that they pick out Dikembe Mutombo on the sidelines after he gives the finger wag. I guess just me doing camera work and stuff, I appreciate that more and more.
Well, the fact that they
there's
zoomed in so quickly is
mail.
awesome.
Well, they knew exactly where he was sitting, and it just so happened that's really well done.
They're probably waiting for that all game.
Probably.
No. Chris Archer at OPS 4.
Okay, so first of all, let me preface this. Chris
yeah.
Archer's a longtime watcher of the show.
Okay.
Carry on.
That game I used to play when I was younger at my grandma's. Man, did I butcher that spelling. So this is a crokinole.
It's crokinole.
Yeah, and I played this at my grandma and grandpa's.
Oh,
And
thanks for watching, Arch. He's great. Arch is great for watching.
Yeah, that board is tough to play on.
It is tough to play on. It's a great game, though.
Yeah. Oh, it is fun.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
Okay, we have to go back to this tweet from Chris Archer because it's kind of funny. So we thought we'd have more time with it, but we didn't. So Chris Archer is a faithful watcher of The Gloves Are Off. Arch, we really appreciate you watching. We really do. And this goes to last week when I said it didn't matter whether Tiger Woods would play golf or crokinole, he would still move the needle. So Archer chimes in, people watch Tiger whether it's golf or crokinole or whatever you just said on TV. I have no idea what that sport is. So I responded and said crokinole is the following, and we know what crokinole is. And he said that he butchered the spelling. So funny. Like as soon as that came back to me, I started laughing because it was so funny. Archer's a good guy. So I used to work with him. He's a real character. My dad knows him well, actually, because he went to school where my dad taught.
Anytime you can fit crokinole into a conversation is awesome.
And Arch is way over in Lindsay, Ontario. Lindsay or Mimi, Ontario. So he watches from all the way over there live,
that's
which is
awesome.
great. Yeah, Arch, we really appreciate it, man. It's really fabulous that you watch the show. Okay, shock or no shock? Shock, first of all, that we have an Ontario viewer.
Not shocked because you're an Ontarioite or Ontario-E or whatever you guys call
Ontarioite,
yourself.
I think. Ontarioite, sure.
So that's good that we got a nice fan base out there.
We do. Okay, why don't I start off?
You should.
Let's start off with the Roar of the Rings. That was a pretty substantial event that went on this weekend. So
Correct.
Kevin Cooey and Rachel Homan are Canada's representatives at the Pyeongchang Olympics in 2018.
Not shocked.
You're not shocked by either.
No. The thing with our current, like, any one of the four would have been good representatives, right? Like,
What do you mean the four?
Like the Final Four women's teams, the final
Right.
men's teams, like any of those teams would represent
Sure.
well on the Olympic stage. Not shocked by them winning. Obviously, the Holman team got some good luck from us interviewing them here. We basically
100% that's
won
the
it
case.
for them.
Yeah.
But no, not shocked at all. That
You could
those are
make
the
the
teams.
argument that we did win it for them.
I
Yeah.
kind of thought that. I wonder if she's going to phone us and ask to
That's-
talk to us about it. Probably.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Probably have another interview. Probably fly out here and have another interview in studio.
Regardless, I'm not shocked about that.
I'm a little shocked that Kevin Cooey is the representative. I'm not shocked that Homan is. I believe that on paper, Homan gives Canada its best chance to win. But Kevin Cooey, I'm surprised at. Like, I'm not sure that Kevin Cooey gives Canada the best chance. Yeah, he won the Roar of the Rings, but I was a little shocked it was him and Mike McEwen in that final.
Right.
Like, not two guys I would expect to be in the final. But good on them. I mean, and maybe my not shocked or my shocked thing here will be blown away. Maybe Cooey will just run the table.
Okay, we will be able to revisit this in the new year.
Yes,
So,
we will.
My first shock was Ohtani, the MLB's biggest free agent, signed with the LA Angels.
Yeah.
Shocked that that's where he ended up. Your take on that? Shocked or not shocked?
Yeah, not shocked because he was constantly talking about wanting to be out on the West Coast. I was a little shocked from the perspective that it was a big city like LA because he also said he
Small
didn't
market.
want to be in a major center. He's in a pretty major center in LA.
Some would argue the major center of the West Coast.
Well, it is the major center of the West Coast. If it's not New York, it's there.
Yeah.
So a little shocked, but not so much. I knew he wanted to play on the West Coast. We knew he wanted to play on the
Yeah,
West Coast.
he made it clear.
Blue Jays are pressing forward with Josh Donaldson. There's been absolutely no indication they're going to trade him. There's all the indication they want to keep this guy around, and they are pressing forward with Josh Donaldson. You shocked? You not shocked?
Yeah, I'm shocked. Like, just I don't know what they're trying to accomplish management-wise. Like, this is a below 500 team, maybe 500 at best with Donaldson. He's not signing back at the end of the year. Like,
You don't know that?
No, he's not signing back. He will go somewhere where he can win. We might have to make a side wager on this.
Yeah, I don't want to get arrested. I'm sure those guys got arrested for wagers. Listen, I'm not shocked by this. This is a guy that this team is going to try and keep. I mean, he's a quality player. They need a quality player, and if they can sign him long term.
He's not signing.
But if they can sign him long term, when the time comes and he can't play third base anymore, ideally there's a Guerrero waiting to play that third base slot, and Donaldson slides into a DH role.
Okay. Ideally, yes, Guerrero will not play third in the MLB. He's going to play first or DH by the time he gets up there. You see how big that kid is?
No, he's
already?
a big kid.
He is a big boy. I think he ends up there. Perfect world, Donaldson signs back. I just don't think he signs. I think he ends up in like a Dodger or one of the big markets, and
Wow,
he tries
a
to win.
Dodger.
Turner could be gone. Who knows? Shocked or not shocked are we that Jimmy Garoppolo is now 2-0, has a perfect record as a QB, and San Francisco might have found their QB of the future. Shocked or not shocked at how well he's played in the first two games?
You know, if you'd asked me this question, or if you'd said this to me last season, I would probably say shocked. But, you know, after watching him play 4 games for the Patriots last season and watching him play these 2 over the last couple of weeks, he's been pretty good. I'm not shocked. He's been very good.
Yeah.
You know, I think I didn't see him being this. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to take the shock size because I didn't see him being this guy, really. So I'm going to take the shock size. I'm a little shocked, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm not shocked because I thought he showed really well in those 4 games, kind of his tryout series, right? And now what he's doing for, let's be honest, that's a terrible football club down there.
Like they've got some good guys.
They've
like
got some
Marquise
pieces.
Goodwin is like there's going to be a lot of Garoppolo, Marquise Goodwin hookups, a lot over the next couple of games. Like there's some good players in there.
And well, the nice thing now for them is you don't have to go look for a QB. You can get a line. You can get whatever you need to get.
The Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who won the Stanley Cup last season, are 9th in the Eastern Conference with 35 points.
Shocked.
How can't you be?
Absolutely shocked.
What is going on?
I have no idea why they're so poor right now.
I mean, there's a lot that can happen over the course of the season, right? And they just need to make the playoffs. They don't have to win the President's Trophy. They just need to make it. And I would expect that they would, but at this point in the season to be 9th, that's not what I expected.
You think a little bit like a hangover season is going on for them, or what do you think?
They've won 2 Stanley Cups. They've played the most hockey of any team over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
It's almost like an extra half season that they played.
Oh, basically.
Yeah.
And maybe even more.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than that. Well, no, not more than that.
It'll be over 40 games, though.
I mean, for every playoff game, how hard is that on your body compared to a regular season game?
Like three games.
Possible. So maybe they have played a half a season or more.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Joey Votto wins the Lou Marsh Award. Are you shocked or not shocked?
Not shocked. And, you could have picked anybody. You could have picked Brooke Henderson. You could have picked any of the Canadians that are in the running for that. I wouldn't have been shocked by any of them. There's some great talent there. And Joey Votto had a pretty good season.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. It's probably underrated a little bit.
It's hugely an understatement.
36 homers, 134 walks. Once again, one of the best hitters in all of baseball. And the thing that I really like about him is one of the best clubhouse leaders, one of the best people in the community. Votto just is a class act, and he's regarded as that around the league. And
100%.
That's why I would love to see him end up in Toronto to end his career. I would love to see that.
So you want to get an old guy in Toronto to end his career?
I would trade Donaldson for Votto and a bunch of prospects. Sure, let's do it.
Penn State's Saquon Barkley finished 4th in Heisman Trophy voting. 4th. You shocked or not shocked?
Okay, it doesn't matter so much, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
No, it doesn't. But
I'm shocked that he finished 4th.
4th, yeah.
I thought he'd finish 2nd. Personally.
I thought he finished 2nd for sure. If he didn't win it.
I feel like that's a bit of a knock. Is that a knock to the fact that they didn't make the championship? Is it a knock to the fact that he was good last year too?
But he was exceptional this year.
I don't know how he isn't 2nd in voting.
That's a mistake. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
2nd only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So is that how that saying goes? How does that saying go? Close.
Yeah,
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Is how it went. Thanks to Director Blake there for that.
I've only heard my old man say that.
Yeah, I butchered that. Arch butchered the spelling, or I butchered that.
No, it's not great. But regardless,
2nd only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Okay, I got one more. We got time for one more?
Yeah, I think so.
Ex-Dodger relief pitcher Brandon Morrow, ex-Blue Jay as well, signed with the Chicago Cubs for $21 million over 2 years. $21 million over 2 years for a relief pitcher. Are you shocked or not shocked by that?
I'm 100% shocked by that.
Brandon
Morrow's not worth nearly $11 million a season.
No, he was phenomenal in the playoffs. Really
He's
good
great
in
the playoffs. But is that your measuring stick?
I don't know. I watched him for a long time. He has ace stuff. He's always had ace stuff.
But he's not consistent with it.
No, for sure. And that scares me even more, paying that much for a relief pitcher, because if you're bad to start.
Did you say a leaf pitcher?
A relief pitcher.
Oh, I thought you said a leaf pitcher. I'm like, he didn't pitch for the Leafs.
Yeah, you're bad to start, the game's over. It's not like a starter.
I wouldn't pay that much for him. I'd pay that much for you to stay as my co-host.
Yeah. Leaf pitching coming up.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
You got some bold predictions?
I got a few bold predictions.
Would you like me to give it a go?
I would like you to give it a go.
I will. So we kind of already talked about this. I'm just still going to reiterate it, that the Eagles will make the Super Bowl with Nick Foles at quarterback.
Okay.
That's bold to some degree, given that nobody thinks they're even going to get there now with Carson Wentz out.
Yep. That's bold and wrong.
You don't agree with it? Yeah, you don't agree with it.
We're going back to your opinion's wrong again today.
Your opinion is I'm wrong unless it agrees with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had one of my bold predictions. The Philadelphia Eagles will lose out in the first round of playoffs.
Are you kidding me? You're joking.
No, I'm dead
You
serious.
just made this up on the fly. That's it. That's what it says. They're not going to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
I think so.
No. Because they'll probably get a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes, they'll get a bye.
It's true.
Smart guy over here.
Technically correct.
Thanks for reading the NFL schedule.
Factually correct, or will be factually correct. Okay. As the ultimate slap in the face to Ohio State Buckeyes, with the 5-finger say to the face, slap. You ever seen Rick James? Rick James from Chappelle's Show?
That was a Rick
as
James
the ultimate. See, that was Charlie Murphy. He slapped. Okay, Alabama will win the national championship as the ultimate slap in the face of Ohio State.
I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
With the 5-finger say to the face, Ohio State.
But that is a
slap.
Very bold prediction. Very bold prediction.
You've never seen the skit?
No, but I've seen
No
Rick
idea.
James. Oh, man. I feel like the impression's way off is what I'm having problems
No,
with.
it's not. It's bang on. You got to watch
Okay.
the skit. We're
Okay.
going to show it to you.
They will not. I do not think they're going to win.
Who do you think's going to win?
I got to feel
You got
they're gonna
Oklahoma,
lose.
Clemson, or Georgia?
I like Clemson.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
No reason why I feel like Clemson's going to
I believe Alabama's going to win it.
Okay, that's fair. Just the aura around Alabama.
His that's another part from the skit. His or whatever. I saw it. I'm going to show you that skit. It's amazing.
Okay, we'll be watching this next break.
Okay, carry on.
So my next one, no skit included on this. Aaron Rodgers returns this week to the Green Bay Packers, and he will lead them to the postseason.
Ah, man, that win they had against the Browns, they nearly were beaten by the Browns, okay? Like,
Yeah.
Hundley just bailed them out at the last
Yeah.
second. That was huge. If they didn't win that game, they're in big trouble.
They were done,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
I think it's to some degree bold and to some degree not bold.
Okay, so we
Aaron
got like
Rodgers is a pretty good quarterback.
so we got like a mild sauce.
Mild
prediction.
sauce. We got mild sauce on that one. Okay,
Okay.
the midget AAA Bobcats, they will win at least 8 of their remaining 13 games of the season. I believe that their current record is 4-16-2, if I'm not mistaken. They will win at least 8 of their next 13 games, the remaining 13 games. 8 of those are at home.
Okay, that's a very bold prediction for a team that's only won 4
Listen, that
games.
team I saw play, that women's national team, was pretty good. And they won the game the next day on Sunday.
Now I do
on
understand
Saturday.
they're starting
Sunday,
to get healthy,
Sunday.
right? They're starting to get their guys back. Is that correct?
Yeah,
They had a bunch of
they've got some
out.
guys back. They got a couple guys that were on suspension back. They got some healthy players back. If that team plays like that, I can't see a lot of teams beating them.
So you liked what you saw out of them.
I liked what I saw.
That's good. That's fantastic to hear.
Ross Howerlick plays goal for them. He started
Yeah.
the game against the women's team. I thought he played really well. Matthew Moorbutter had a fantastic goal, like a really, really good goal. He's a big kid. You know, I like what I saw out of those guys.
Sounds like we'll be making a trip to watch them here.
No, for sure. They're worth watching.
Yeah.
If they play like that, that's a team worth watching. That's a team to get behind for sure.
That's good to hear. I got Toronto, well, going back to Josh Donaldson and the Toronto Blue Jays, Josh Donaldson will be a member of another MLB team by April 1, meaning he's traded.
No, he's not going to be traded. Not going to trade him.
So you're saying that's not bold?
It's bold, actually. It's very bold, but they're not trading the guy. He's staying. He's going to be a Blue Jay.
He's not.
He's going to be a Blue Jay.
All right.
I speak it into existence.
Okay.
Okay, Marcell Ozuna will be a Blue Jay within the next 2 weeks. They need outfield help. They're going to get him.
I'm going to say that's a bold prediction. Right before we started shooting this show, I saw that St. Louis is real close to making a deal on him, which could make the Cardinals
They're
real
in there.
good.
The Cards and the Jays are both in on him.
Yeah. You think the Jays get him? Okay, so why do the Jays not like Anthony Alford? Why don't they?
I think the biggest problem they have with Alfred is he's still a little bit raw, and he's been a little susceptible to injury. He's freakish athletically.
Yeah.
He's an athletic freak show is what he is.
Yeah.
But he's still raw. He's a football. He played football,
Right.
and he's moved over to play baseball. His athletic ability is helping him big time, but
Yeah.
he's not quite there yet. He reminds me of, who was the center fielder they had for years, a Canadian kid. can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Pompey?
He reminds me a lot of Dalton Pompey. He
The
kind of
tools?
on the cusp of getting there, not quite there. Remind me a lot of that.
Yeah, and Pompey, injuries, concussions, and everything that happened with
And
him.
I think to some degree there's a bit of an issue with Alfred's hitting. I think that they need to see more out of him from an offensive perspective.
Well, he was a football player, right? He's only played baseball for, I don't know.
3 seasons,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, so. Okay, we're going to stick with baseball. Bold prediction. My Atlanta Braves will be making the playoffs next season. They were not great this year.
No, that's very bold because it's not happening. That's very bold because it's not happening.
Okay, so the reason behind it is they got a bunch of young pitching that I think is going to be MLB ready right now. I think they're going to add a key.
I like how you put
piece.
I think in there.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think it into existence, right?
Speak it into existence.
And there's a lot of prospects that showed well down the stretch. So I hope that they make a push for the playoffs. I could see them making the playoffs and the Blue Jays not next year.
I believe the Blue Jays have a better chance of making the postseason than the Atlanta Braves do. What's incredible to me, I'm going back a ways here, is that the Atlanta Braves made the postseason for 15 straight years.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Phenomenal run. And don't bring up any other things that happen in those playoffs because it hurts my feelings.
All right, listen. The Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are going to make the postseason and make it to at least the conference finals this season.
So I'm going to call that like a mild sauce one. That's bold, but not so bold. That's a good hockey club.
Well, they're on paper. Do you think they're good when you see them on paper? They've just played really well.
I don't think they're on paper flashy, but I think they've got a well put together team, like a well balanced team.
They have been. I mean, where are they right now? They are 41 points. They're just behind the Blues.
Yeah, they're second, right? Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Western Conference. Sorry, they're third in the Western Conference. They're behind St. Louis, and they're also behind LA.
Yeah.
But still, LA's 2 ahead of them, St. Louis 3 ahead of them. That's been a good team this season, very good team.
Yeah.
But if you'd said to me at the start of the season, the Winnipeg Jets are going to be here,
yeah.
at this point, we're like, no, they're not. There's no chance.
100%. Yeah, if you would have told me that, I would have said no at all. And now you saying they're going to make the playoffs and they're a good team right now.
They're a very good team.
They would have to have a couple injuries, I think, for it to fall apart.
Yeah, well, you can't, but that's the thing, right? They're going to have a couple injuries. You make it sound like they need to have injuries.
No, they don't.
They've got to have.
I want
Hey,
them
listen,
to
they got to have a couple injuries.
No,
We got to get some injuries out of these guys.
I am not trying to get injuries out of these guys. I'm just saying if they don't make it. So you have Winnipeg ties. Are you going to get to see them play over the break at all?
That's a good question. Probably not.
Unfortunately.
But maybe we'll see.
Okay, well, I'm out of bold prediction, so do you got something you can throw back at me?
I might be able to throw a bold prediction back at you.
Once you hit the Braves making playoffs, that's as bold as you can go. Everything else is down here.
The New York Yankees will win the World Series in 2018.
I just threw up a little. That is very bold. I'm going to go with no again. I think your LA Dodgers are going to win the World Series next year.
Yeah, I can't see it. Listen, they're going to get some good production out of those main guys. They've got some decent pitching. They've got a good bullpen. The lineup is a freak show. Gary Sanchez, Judge, and Stanton.
Yeah.
You got to go through. That was like the murderers row the Jays had a few years ago,
Yeah.
with Bautista, Encarnacion, and what's his name, Ken Donaldson. You had to go through that.
Yeah.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
Little final take for you here. We've got a few things that we're going to hit on locally. There's a few local items happening over the next little while, and of course, we think it's important that you, the viewer, gets to know about it. And we have something coming up next week that we need to let you know about as well. First of all, let's go back to the Hillmond Hitmen. Big upcoming fundraiser at the Hillmond Arena this coming Sunday. Of course, that going to a few different charities, going to Ryan Harbin and Roberta Mills' family with a young son. And from what I'm under the understanding, Ryan has been diagnosed with cancer. So they had a great fundraiser last year for Brenda Stansfield and the Stansfield family. So equally good this year, I would think.
Yeah, these events are fantastic. So I would encourage everyone to get out and support that and have a great time at the event.
Yeah, and it is a good time. That's the other thing. It's not like, and the silent auction they have is outstanding. There's a ton of great stuff in there. I bid on quite a few items last year. I didn't win any, which is great. It meant the bidding went high, which is excellent.
Right.
But yeah, it's worth going out to 2:30 p.m. Sunday, December 17th for the Hillmond Hitmen versus your Lloydminster Bandits. Who wins that?
I say
It doesn't matter, but who does?
I say the Hitmen win that.
You think so? I think
Yeah.
the Bandits won last year, didn't they?
Did they?
I think so.
That'd be interesting.
Bandits
in
are
that.
pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Speaking of those Lloydminster Bandits, they are 4th in the Northeastern Alberta Junior B Hockey League, 13-8-1, and they are playing in Dewberry tonight, actually, at the new Dewberry Arena.
I was going to say Dewberry does not have a junior B team.
No, they don't. They're playing Vermilion in
makes
Dewberry.
sense.
So, again, just the Bandits, one of Lloydminster's winning hockey teams. There aren't many right now.
Yeah, and that team's been strong for a long time. That's
And
a
they're
really
better
good,
this year than they were
yeah,
last.
that's a really good program. Talking to their captain Matt Nielsen, a lot of 1-goal losses, right? Like
There have been.
their record could be a lot better even if you look at it just tight games.
Yeah, some tight games. I mean, they played Wainwright. I believe that they were tied with Wainwright going into the third period in the last game and ended up kind of imploding a little bit. But they're competitive.
Yeah.
They're very competitive. Not like Saddle Lake, who's 0-22.
And giving up 200 goals. Yeah,
0-22.
yeah, that's not great.
Get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out of the league. You can't. It's better to not have that team in the league than have them in the league and have however many teams you have.
I agree.
It's way
They're
better
going to
off.
make some drastic steps.
Yeah. We haven't talked much about the Lloydminster Steelers, the girls teams,
Yes.
the Bantam, and the two midget teams. But the midget AAA team, the PWM Steelers, are 10-2-1. Surprisingly, they're actually like 4th in their division.
How are you 4th with a 10-2-1 record?
Because there's some teams that are actually that have a better record. That being said, the midget Steelers have a few games in hand over those teams, so it's entirely possible they
Right.
could be in first before too long. Not playing at home again until January 5th.
Right.
So they're not back in the service center until January 5th.
And our girls hockey is really getting stronger in the
It's getting
community.
better, yeah. Last year they struggled a bit. I believe last year might have been the first year for the Steelers program. If
Yeah.
it wasn't, it was the second. And they've started to pick it up a bit this year. The Bantam girls are right there. The Bantam girls are right on the cusp of breaking through to first place in their division as well.
Yeah, and when you're in those AAA programs, I think it takes a little bit of a learning curve to realize what the league's like, what the schedule's like, what your competition's like, to figure out how to play that level.
Listen, you had somebody that reached out to you that wants to see something kind of fun on this show.
Yeah, so I have a group chat that really likes to chirp, mostly me, about the
I get
show,
it.
and they really love you, so
Yeah,
that's
I'm sure
awesome.
they do.
So they wanted to see our top 5 sports movies in one of the shows. So do we think we could get that in one
Yeah,
of the
we're
shows?
going to do that next week for sure.
Okay.
We're going to do that next week. Who was that?
It was Scott Forrester. Grew up with me and Kid Scotty. I've known him since I was born. So he listed his, and I said no to all his. But yeah, Scotty wants to see this, so I promised him we'd try to get it on
we're
the
going to
show.
get it in next week
Yeah.
for sure. Speaking of next week's Gloves Are Off will air Thursday at 7 p.m. It is not going to be on Wednesday. You can catch it Thursday at 7. Unfortunately, we will still be here.
Yeah, just an extra day in the
But
studio.
we're going to talk about sports movies, which is
Yeah.
great.
Give me some time to research that.
What's your favorite sport movie? Quick.
For love of the game.
Every Given Sunday. Any Given Sunday. I
Every
don't know
Given.
the title of it.